Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, today we're going to add a call to action module. Now these are called call to action modules because they've usually got a button that asks you to take some specific action. And they're awesome things to have on your site because it encourages interaction between your visitors and your site. So let's get started. Let's enable the Visual Builder and go down to where we want to work. Now I've got a row with 2 columns. I'm going to go to the second column and add a module, the little dark button to add a module here. Divi by default comes with all of these modules as standard, and the one we want to use today is call to action right there. So I'm just going to left click and it'll load it in there for us. And as you can see, it's put in a sort of generic looking one there that's great. It's fine. And the first thing, we're on our content tab. So let's change our title to whatever you want it to say. And you can have a button text here. Now you might notice that I put that in there but you can't see it anywhere. It's because we've not given our button a link. Once we give our button a link, it'll show up. Down below we can add any content. I'm going to leave that exactly how it is because I haven't got anything particular to say about this. And this is just like any other text type WordPress module. You can add media to it, images and such, by adding media there. You can select things and add links. And you can change text from paragraph to heading, etc., like any other text module. So let's move on down. Now here's the important part for the call to action module. Button link. Well, let's take a link from a website or a YouTube video. So I've got a YouTube video there. I'll just paste that in. Now because this is on an external site, it's going to take people to YouTube to see this. I'm going to have it open it in a new tab. If you were linking to a site, your own site, you'd want it to actually link in the same tab. To reinforce that example, let's put a module link in as well. Now module link, if they click anywhere on this apart from the button, it will take them to this link. So let's just copy my home page link and I'll put that in there. And I want this one to open in the same window. Now backgrounds, going on down, they're fairly straightforward. We've done a module on backgrounds with colors, gradients, image and videos. Have a look at that if you're not sure. You'll find it in the playlist below this video. So let's just put our own color in there. Let's hit the 3 little dots and find a color from our palette here. I guess I want something fairly dark. Okay, and as you can see, that's made that stand out. Admin label, if you've got a lot of modules on your page, it's a good idea to give them an admin label because as it looks at the moment, you can't tell which one's which without actually physically looking at it. But if you've got a bunch that are very similar, you can go into wireframe mode and find it, because I've just given it the name my new module, and that's what makes it stand out from the others. So that's a useful feature, putting an admin label on there. Let's go back in there and we're pretty much done with the content section. In the design text section, you can do a general text under the text. You can align it all left if you want to, right if you want to, or justify it if you want to. I'll leave mine in the middle. You can make the text dark or light. I think it works a lot better with light on that background. You give it text shadow if you want to. I don't particularly want to do that. To me, that tends to make things look a little bit blurry on smaller text. But then we can go down further and edit them individually. And this is common to all modules, as is the link that we did before and the admin label. You can change the font if you want to, and there's just hundreds of types of font to choose from. Literally hundreds. I haven't even counted how many, but there's a huge amount of fonts to choose from with the Divi theme. You can decide on the font weight. Some fonts are going to have just bold and regular. Some are going to have semi-bold, extra bold, ultra bold, depending on what font family you use. So I think I'll put that back to regular. And you can make it all capital if you want to. You can have it italicized, upper and lower caps, underlined, or strike through. And you can also do combinations of both. So I think I'll just leave mine as is. And of course you can change the color if you want to. Text size, you can slide this up or down or type a value in here, or you can increment in small amounts just using the little arrows to the right of the amount there. Letter spacing, obviously that's the space between the letters. If you want to stretch out your words, you can do that. Line height is the height above and below. Basically, if we had some more text here and we hit the return button, it's how far below it would be. So if we increase the line height, it'll push down the content below there. And again, you can add box shadow, text shadow if you want here. Now you can affect the body text separately too, with all exactly the same things. You can link it, you can align it, you can increment it, and you can actually put quote marks around it too if you want to. And of course you've got the same uppercase, italicized, upper, lower, underline and strike through as you have with everything else. And you can align this separately too if you choose to. And like the one above, of course you can change the color also. Isn't that a fantastic looking box? Dreadful. Okay, let's change that back to white. Text size you can change again, letter spacing and body. Those are all common whenever you're dealing with text. You'll find those settings there. I don't want to change anything there. Now we've got a black button here because in the last video we customized our buttons with a theme customizer. If you want to learn about how to do that, again check that out from our buttons video in our playlist there. But you can customize it individually here too if you wish. Use custom styles for a button. Text size, I'll leave that absolutely as it is. Let's make the text black and you see it's disappeared in there. Well, let's give it a different background. Let's give it a red background. Now you can see it a bit better. And let's also give our border a red border. But when we hover over it, let's make it go a different color. So to set the hover, go over the dark legending for button background. And this is common with all modules. If you hover over the dark legending within a module, you'll see a bunch of icons appear. If there's an arrow there, you can set a hover state. Desktop is when it's not being hovered on. Hover is obviously when it is being hovered on. And let's change that to green. And we'll do the same for our border. Again, hit the little arrow. There we go. Now let's set these back to desktop, get it red again. Great. And again, you can change things like the border radius. You can put a small amount of corner on there. It's got 3 pixels at the moment. If you put 20, it'll be more round. And if you put 50, it'll be totally pill shaped with total rounded corners there. And again, you've got letter spacing. You can choose your font. Do whatever you want now. Same with any other text settings. Now when I hover over this, you'll notice there's a little icon there. I really don't want that particularly, so I'm going to turn it off. If you want it, that's great. You can choose one of these icons down here, and there's plenty to choose from the Elegant Themes icons list there. But I don't want that today, so I'm going to leave that one off. I want the button in the middle. Of course, you can do it left or right if you prefer. Middle's absolutely fine for me there. Don't want any text shadow on there. I don't think it's going to help me. We can push the button down or bring it up with a bit of margin. If I give it 30 pixels, you'll see it'll drop by 30 pixels. There we go. And if you want to make the button wider or fatter, just simply add some padding top and bottom. Let's give it 20 top and bottom. That'll make it pretty tall. And let's give it 50 left and right, and as you can see, that makes it a lot wider, so they're not going to miss that button. You can add a bit of box shadow to the button if you want to. Adds a little bit there to it. It's got some inner shadow effects too that you can work with. But I think I'll just leave it on that one, that's fine. You can tweak your box shadow settings down below here. Now size wise, and this is common with all modules as well, if you don't want it as wide as your column that it's sitting in, you can bring this down and it'll shrink it down in size. Now you can align it to the middle if you want to, the right and the left, but for me I'm happy for it to be 100% of the available space. Spacing wise, this is our margins and paddings. We can add padding if we want to, and margins to put it somewhere else. We've done a full video on margins and padding, so if you're not sure what to do with that, have a look at that video. It'll be down in the playlist below too. If you want to add a border, you can do. If you want to round the corners, just put a value in here. If you've got this checked, it'll do all four at once for you. As you can see, that's giving it rounded corners there. Now if you want to put a border on there, that's fine. You can do all four, top, right, bottom or left. Let's just put a little border on the bottom. I'll make it red and let's make it fairly big. There we go, so you're not going to miss that. And last but not least, we're going to add a little bit of box shadow at the bottom just to lift the whole module off the page. And again, just choose which one works for you. And you can tweak the settings down below if you're not happy. But the general ones seem to work pretty well for me. Filters, transforms and animation, we've done separate videos about all these things because there's plenty to play with there. Again, have a look at the playlist if you want to learn more about those. So there's our call to action. Let's save our draft, or publish if you're ready, and exit the Visual Builder. And there's our module. When I hover over the button, it should turn green. Yep, fantastic. And if I click anywhere on the module, it's going to link to the home page. And there we go. Let's go back. And if I click on the button, it's going to take us to that YouTube video. It should open it in a new tab.
CSS Grid, meet Webflow.
There we go.
The future of grid-powered layouts. The only web in the...
So there's a call to action module for you. I hope you've enjoyed that and found it useful. If you have, please ring the bell, give it a thumbs up, comment, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and WebDesignTechTips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.